Okay, listen, we can't say too much yet, but Amanda and I have been secretly renovating the entire Brave New Teaching world behind the scenes.
We are taking our entire podcast, our shop, our workshops, combining them into one massive university. It's going to change how you plan your entire year.
It really is, but we need help testing the new platform.
So if you want a sneak peek and the lowest price that it will ever exist, get on our beta waitlist right now at bravenewteaching.com/waitlist.
Seriously, you guys, go now. bravenewteaching.com/waitlist. Let's go. Well, hello and welcome back to Brave New Teaching and welcome to this week's Team BNT meeting. Friends, I don't know about you, but I am finally on spring break and I am sorry if you are not on spring break, but it is glorious. It's glorious. I've needed this so badly. We are doing things like my daughter wanted to learn how to sew. So I am teaching her how to sew. It happens to be my curriculum as well. So I was kind of like, how's this going to go? It's delightful. My son is all about stop motion. So he's like taken over the entire living room with all of his little figurines and his computer. And he's making stop motion little movies on his computer. And I am drinking as much coffee as I want at whatever temperature I choose. You know, it's the small things in life. And this is really, as I was thinking about, like, what do I think we really need to talk about? There are so many things happening in the world of education. There's so many things happening in the world. There's always things happening in the world and in the world of education. And it just does feel so heavy all the time. And yet, as I've said here many, many times before, and will continue to say again, time doesn't stop when things are heavy. Like the world keeps going for better or worse and everything in between. And we, as educators, whether you are a classroom teacher, you're a para, you are an administrator, you work in one of the offices, right? Like we're all educators. Those who work with children in any capacity have some level impact on their education. And yeah, I totally get that I'm supposed to give myself grace and everybody else around me, but like I still have to see them the next day. I still have to like lead class for 90 minutes at a time in my classroom and like address as many of the needs in there as I can and teach content and do it without saying the F word multiple times loudly. You know, like there's just like a lot happening. And spring break has made me think of ways not necessarily to slow down, but to just hit full-blown pause and help kids connect back with some of their like hand-eye. Basically what I'm talking about is bringing like grandma hobbies into the classroom. Okay, let's talk about grandma hobbies in the classroom and why I think that it will make or break education as we know it. Cue the music.
You're listening to Brave New Teaching, and we are so much more than a podcast.
We give teachers the inspiration, support, and tools to challenge the status quo.
I'm Amanda, and I'm a former English teacher from Illinois.
And I'm Marie, and I'm a high school teacher from Southern California.
Join us after the show and happy hour to extend your BNT experience with instant access to our resources, workshops, and courses.
Visit shop.bravenewteaching.com/happy hour to join us today. We're so glad you're here. Enjoy the show. Okay, so it is no surprise to any of us. I hope it's no surprise to any of us. If it is a surprise, then maybe I think you should start binging the Brave New Teaching podcast all the way back from episode 1 in April of 2020. But it should not come as a surprise that doing things that are like actively using our hands and being creative and making things are amazing for the human brain, especially for the young and adolescent brains that are still developing. And that's why we saw such a rise a few years ago, especially like pre-COVID, of maker spaces. Maker spaces in every library, every, like STEM center, every classroom should have a makerspace cart. Amanda does an amazing explanation of how to put together a makerspace cart and how to use it in a high school or a secondary ELA classroom. I am also in a place where doing like my watercolor activity that I know I've talked about on the podcast before, where we watercolor tone and mood, or bringing even like Play-Doh into my room so that students have something to manipulate. The kind of mess that creates and the kind of, it gets gross. First of all, Play-Doh gets really gross. It was so cool. And it was such a neat like trend for a while. It was all over social media, like Play-Doh in the high school classroom. Absolutely delightful. Kids love it. Like give them some bubbles. Take kids outside with a little bottle of bubbles and watch them absolutely become 5 years old again. It is the cutest damn thing in the whole entire world. But again, we're talking about having to completely remove ourselves from the given moment and remove ourselves from wherever we are. I have 90-minute class periods, so that is possible here and there for me. But I know some of you out there have like 45 and 50-minute class periods, so that might be a little too disruptive. Plus, there's the whole setup and cleanup aspect. So here I have some little to no prep activities. Now, full warning here, these are going to take either some purchasing, asking for donations, or some trolling of Facebook Marketplace and even thrift stores. So this is not going to be like, this is zero prep in the moment, like getting there in front of students. Some of these are low prep, but some of are zero. However, there is stuff involved. So like, I just want to be super upfront about that. These are activities that get students using their hands, that get them off of screens, that can get them talking to each other, or even just allow them to start developing some of those more like brain elasticity sorts of skills, if that's even a thing. Do you like how I actually don't know what I'm talking about? But at least like not the terminology. So that, like, for instance, some of these little activities that I have are kind of artsy craftsy, but like not messy, and are easy wins for kids as well. I will say that when it comes to doing creation in a classroom, whether it's a visual art class, a performing art class, a math class, a science class, an ELA class, a PE, like wherever you are in, especially in a secondary, actually elementary too, primaries, absolutely, whatever kind of a setting, if there is high frustration, students of 2026, children of 2026, and adults as well, adults are not immune to this in the world of the digital age, are very prone to quit things. When there is high frustration or quick frustration, they are quick to quit, like very fast. So these activities that I have also build stamina with like low-hanging fruit activities, if you will. Okay, I think I've given the setup enough. So I have spoken on here many times. I have talked on Instagram many times about playing cards and having decks of cards in a classroom. The best $15 I ever spent. Actually, I don't even know if it was that much. It may have been like $10. Go to the Dollar Tree. You can get decks of cards. Go to, or just like put out an email to families and say, hey, can you send in a deck of cards with your kid? You'll have a collection of them. You do have to ask for help. I'm sorry if you are like me and you don't like to, but you're going to have to get over that. Ask for help. Playing cards are the best. I take them to groups of kids, and there are like 3 levels, basically based on like whatever we're doing. If there's a pair of kids, they can play a game. If there's one kid, you can teach them solitaire. But with my juniors, I like to go straight in with the game bullshit. Bullshit is, we don't necessarily have to call it that. I mean, I do, but that's just because I like to be aggressive with my language. BS. If you don't know the like rules to that game, I will make sure that they're linked in the show notes. It is a wonderful way to get kids interacting. And if you need kids to be quiet because it's testing and someone is, finished early, solitaire is another great one. When kids are getting a little bit more advanced, you can start teaching them poker hands, and they can play. I mean, I have jars of coffee beans on each table in my classroom because A, I'm extra, and B, it makes the room not smell like Teen Spirit. Coffee absorbs a lot of their scents, if you will. And they'll like bet with coffee beans. It's the cutest thing in the world. And then they're also just thinking in different ways. Playing cards, playing cards, playing cards. One of the best things I've ever invested in for my classroom. Another thing, and this as a mom came straight out of my house. However, I know that you can find these things on Facebook Marketplace. I know you can find things on Buy Nothing. I know you can find things at like secondhand. Legos and Magna-Tiles. Not just any building blocks. Like, yeah, the wood blocks are cool, but Magna-Tiles and Legos take kids to a very special place I like to bring out the Legos and the Magna-Tiles when we have presentations going on. And yes, around the room you hear click, 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 click. Oh, fall, crash, click, 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 click. But there is something about them being able to just build stuff and watch and listen to a presentation at the same time that is magical. It also, for kids presenting, knowing that their peers are not just staring into their soul, but are also building their own rainbow version of the Millennium Falcon at their table, or like the tallest tower that they can out of Magna-Tiles, eases some of their discomfort with standing in front of their class. So like that's just a little added bonus for you. Some of you are not going to agree with this, but I think it's a great way to occupy children while presentations are going on. And then kids are both getting listening skill practice and kind of like being able to do multiple things at once skill practice, because we're never going to be in a world where people are not trying to multitask, but then also the kids presenting are a little bit less tense because they know there's other stuff going on at the same time. Okay, so now we're going to get into a little bit of artsy craftsy. And this all has to do with like embroidery floss, that like string. And if you want to, it depends on how deep you want to go. If you just want to get a very cheap pack of embroidery floss, you can get like thousands of threads for like under $10. Go to Amazon, Walmart. Michael's has a ton. Like they're great. Again, put out an all call. Does anybody have embroidery floss or friendship bracelet string that they could donate? And there you go. I will link some videos on how to make friendship bracelets, but you give kids a few different colors, a pair of scissors at each table or scissors to share amongst some different desks, and a piece of tape, and you've got an activity. They can braid, they can tie knots, they can weave and do things while they're listening to presentations, while you're listening to something like audio, or just as a little break. And it can be like an ongoing project, very little setup. And once kids have their string, that's literally all they need. Have them make friendship bracelets. Do they ever have to wear them? No. Who cares? Could they give them to each other? Absolutely. What a fun community bonding experience. Friendship bracelets. I bring friendship bracelet string with me everywhere I go once it starts getting warm, because my kids, we like to be outside. We like to do things. My own children love using friendship bracelet string and like making things. And we've become those people. Like we go to the beach with it. We go to the park, everywhere. I now bring it to school because those kids love it as well. And you just get a little piece of tape, tape it to their desk. There you go. Now, if you want to go a little further, you can take that friendship bracelet string, that embroidery floss, and you can get yourself a very large piece of cross-stitching fabric for pretty cheap. Again, ask parents for donations. I guarantee you somebody's got this in a random drawer in a random part of their house. And they're like, yeah, I'm never going to use this. It came from my grandma. Here, kid, take this to school. And then you can get a pack of plastic needles, which are quite inexpensive. And kids can give them little squares of cross-stitching fabric, give them a plastic needle and some embroidery floss, and they can have, like, you have just little sewing circles. The beauty of it being, if you don't know what I'm talking about, again, I will put little videos so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Once a kid has a little square, a little needle, and some embroidery floss or some like thread, they're set. And it's something that they can keep in their binder. It's something that they can keep at their table, like a little, basket of things at the table if you want. This is the time of year where we start having more presentations. We start having more group work time where kids just need to talk. And sometimes keeping their hands busy is what's going to keep them engaged in what is going on around them so that they don't dive into their phone. Cross-stitching is easy to take out. Like they can literally just sew and then take it back out and sew again and then take it back out and see if they can make designs. Another thing that you can do is if you don't want to do cross-stitching, you can get like felt. You can just get really cheap felt squares and kids can learn how to do hand sewing with plastic needles, thick thread or embroidery floss. And yeah, there you go. Okay, last thing, because this is a longer team meeting. The only reason I thought of this is because I was doing spring cleaning because it is spring break. I was going through my garage and we had this bin full of little figurines that my kids used to play with. And I went, oh my gosh, we can't give these away. I need to bring these to school to teach blocking in my theater classes. Blocking is where you learn like stage picture and like, blocking is stage movement, right? Like where everybody's going to go and when and all of that and how. But for kids to really like understand the concept of blocking, playing with toys and creating a 3D little space in front of us is awesome. So I'm going to use those for that. And then I was like, wait a minute. We could absolutely do creative writing with toys. Just here, grab bag, grab 3 figurines and I don't know, whatever. If you've been a listener to the podcast for a while, Amanda and I have a little freebie and it's called it's in BNT University. It is called, oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name of it? It's this little paper dice that kids create, and then on each side is like different prompts so that they can roll it and then create stories. But imagine like combining that along with a little Daniel Tiger and a Batman and, Princess Sophia. Then you've got yourself a story. Like, how did they all get here? Where are they? And kids can start doing that. You can also teach lit devices with toys, with little figurines. You can also teach just different ways to visualize what's going on and like create different conceptualizing. There are a lot of different things that you can teach and practice with toys. And it's also just like really fun to have random, Mickey Mouse and the Incredible Hulk saying hello to each other. Those, again, are things that if you don't have kids like me who have grown out of their toys and then you can just bring them in, ask for donations. I guarantee you there are parents out there who are like, I want to get these out of here, but it's sentimental. And to know that the things that a kid played with are going to their classroom and then will be with other kids is absolutely, then it's an easy yes for parents. So send an email home, look at Facebook Marketplace, look at Buy Nothing. And I'm telling you, just a little bin and my classes of 40 are absolutely entertained. So again, makerspaces, amazing. Doing actual like creation, phenomenal. I just don't always have the bandwidth for the setup and the cleanup and the high frustration level. And sometimes when you're like doing quote unquote art projects, kids have an idea in their mind that they're already bad at it. And so then they won't even try. And this is from me. I teach technical theater. And like right now, my technical theater class is costuming. I have taught my whole class how to hand sew from like the very basics. That's where I got this whole like cross stitching and felt idea. I was like, wait a minute. Every single child in here is completely engaged. And some of them are frustrated, but they realize how easy it is to start over. Nothing's ruined. And you can't tell that you messed up if you start over because you just take the thread out. Oh, I've got something here. And we have made our way all the way up to they all just created. I mean, some of them are god awful, but they had a good attitude about it for the most part. Pajama pants out of fabric. And they created the pattern off of something I printed and they had to put it together. And then they had to lay it out on fabric and cut it and pin it and machine sew. And everybody ended with a pair of pants. Some of them could only be worn by a hobbit, but we all had pants at the end. And they all saw it all the way through. So, and I have quite the cross-section of children in that class. So if I can do it and they can do it, then I think we can get kids to play poker, and just like have a little brain break and learn how to talk to each other. So anyways, those are my ideas for you. Let's have a spring where we have A, moments of joy, B, moments where it's easy to get kids off of their phones because they're doing something that's engaging and interesting, and C, let's make our classrooms a place where we can enjoy kids having fun and we don't have to worry about the cleanup afterwards. You know what I mean? Okay. Friends, have a wonderful week at school if you're there. If you're on spring break, hallelujah, so am I. And I will see you next time.
Thanks again for listening to Brave New Teaching.
We'd love to keep the conversation going over on Instagram.
And while you're there, check out the links in our bio for the most up-to-date events going on in Happy Hour and the Brave New Teaching community.
Thanks for being here and have a great week at school.